Empathy is often treated as a moral virtue rather than a structural force, something that is admirable but optional, a nice to have but not essential, personal but not systemic. In competitive environments such as universities, corporations, research labs, and high performance organizations, empathy is frequently framed as a distraction from real work, yet when you examine the evidence carefully, a different picture emerges. Empathy is not the opposite of efficiency, it is one of the most underappreciated enablers. For decades, productivity has been defined narrowly: more output, shorter timelines, greater pressure, higher expectations. This logic shaped academic institutions as much as it shaped corporate ones. Publish more, teach more, supervise more, compete more. And yet, alongside this relentless optimization, something quietly eroded: trust, psychological safety, intellectual risk-taking, long-term sustainability. Burnout became normalized. Disengagement became invisible. Excellence became extractive. Economics at its core is the study of incentives and behavior. And behavioral economics has shown us repeatedly that human performance does not improve simply because demands increase. In fact, the opposite often happens. When people feel unsafe, whether it's intellectually, emotionally, or socially, they conserve energy, they avoid risk, they minimize exposure, they stop experimenting, they stop questioning. In environments such as academia, where progress depends on curiosity and intellectual courage, this is catastrophic. Empathy changes the incentive structure. When individuals feel understood rather than surveyed, they are more willing to engage deeply. When mistakes are met with curiosity instead of punishment, learning accelerates. When people are treated as humans rather than outputs, they invest more of themselves in the workplace. This is not sentimental thinking, it is economic reality. Consider what empathy actually does inside a system. It reduces friction in communication, it increases trust between collaborators, and it shortens the feedback loops. It improves retention of talent, and it lowers the hidden costs of stress, conflict, and attrition. These effects compound over time. Cruelty extracts value quickly. Empathy compounds value slowly. But compounding always wins in the long run. Academia provides a particularly stark example of this tension. Universities measure success obsessively: citations, grants, rankings, throughput, but they rarely measure the conditions under which those outputs are produced. They do not ask, are early career scholars psychologically safe enough to challenge senior ideas? Are students encouraged to ask naive questions without humiliation? Are failures treated as part of scholarship or as personal shortcomings? The result is a system that produces knowledge, but often exhausts the people that are producing it. Elite sport understands this trade-off better than most academic institutions. Coaches know that fear inhibits performance. An athlete who is anxious about punishment does not experiment. They play safe. They avoid responsibility. But performance at the highest level requires risk, creativity, adaptation, confidence under uncertainty. Empathy, when applied properly, creates the conditions where these qualities emerge. This does not mean the absence of standards. Empathy is not indulgence. It is clarity without cruelty. In both sport and scholarship, the best leaders are those who can hold people to high expectations while still recognizing their humanity. They understand that pressure without support breaks systems. Support without challenge stagnates them. Empathy allows the balance. There is also a deeper economic argument that rarely gets discussed. Burnout is expensive. It costs institutions in lost productivity, healthcare expenditure, turnover, and the erosion of institutional memory. When experienced academics disengage or leave, they take decades of tacit knowledge with them. Empathy acts as a preventative intervention, not because it feels good, but because it preserves capacity. This is where altruism enters the conversation. Altruism is not charity. In this sense, it is long-term thinking. It recognizes that systems designed purely for extraction eventually collapse. systems designed for mutual benefit endure. In this sense, empathy is not a weakness in competitive environments, it is a stabilizing force. Technology complicates this further. AI can optimize workloads, automate processes, and accelerate output. But without empathy guiding its deployment, AI risks amplifying the very pressures that cause disengagement in the first place. Efficiency without care becomes acceleration towards exhaustion. The question is not whether systems can do more, it is whether people can remain whole while doing it. The economics of empathy forces us to reconsider what we value, not just what we measure, but why. If institutions want sustainable excellence, they must stop treating kindness as an optional extra and start recognizing it as structural infrastructure. Empathy shapes behavior. Behavior shapes performance. And performance shapes outcomes. The chain is unavoidable. Empathy does not make systems soft, it makes them resilient. And in an age of rapid technological change, resilience may be the most valuable currency of all. Till next time.